The idea behind this podcast is going to be basically to go over just unpack all kinds of
Yes. Thank you for being descriptive
Bloodborne.
as always.
um,
Yes.
I'm so specific. Very, very much lore, very, very wow. The lore is not going to be like
Yes.
it's going to be a lot of speculative lore is the idea, and unpack a bunch of different ideas that people have had, and that like Logan has a lot of words for this.
But yeah. No. All right. So really,
Yes,
what's
you
going
are.
to be going on is this podcast is going to go over the stuff that isn't normally like speculated on in the regular echo chambers that are like the Bloodborne Reddit. I mean, it's going to be a combination of cut content stuff and base game stuff and how they intermingle, because in my opinion, as well as many other people's opinions, there's no reason why most of the cut content can't still be canon. And we will go into that in further detail later on down the line. But in general, this podcast is more or less saying that, nothing is going to be overlooked. We're not going to see a theory, and we're not going to see some cut content that doesn't make any sense. Like, we're not going to see that and be like, oh, we're too good for that. We're going to gloss over that. It's not worth mentioning. I mean, nobody in their right mind would ever be able to say that they actually know what's going on in Bloodborne's story. It doesn't matter who you are. The story fundamentally does not make sense. And that's honestly why I find it so appealing. The reason, it might be so convoluted, maybe because of time restrictions or time is convoluted in Yarnum's lore.
Oh yeah, we haven't introduced ourselves yet either.
As far as introductions go, I'm really very simple. My name's Logan. I live in the Midwest, Kansas to be specific, actually. I'm currently a student, but I do work in construction over the summer. And, some interesting things about me. I will fight to the death for the liberty of Fallout New Vegas. I will fight tooth and nail against anybody and everybody who thinks that game is anything but the best game in the franchise, if not the best game ever made. I also really like talking about Star Wars, which has gotten me in trouble on multiple accounts. Mainly, again, because of my very purist and elitist standpoint when it comes to it. Like, I like to think of Legends material for those who are more inclined to Star Wars lore and know what that means is, more canon than anything Disney has put out, like The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Solo, Rogue One, even the comics and stuff, as cool as they are. I don't feel like that's Star Wars. I feel like that's a marketing campaign done by a mega corporation to try and pander to kids who don't understand what they're watching. But, again, I can get very heated about those kinds of things. This is actually me trying to remain as mellow as possible on the topic. Yeah, no, I can get pretty zealous when it comes to extended universe Star Wars and Fallout New Vegas, and the original Fallout games for that matter. they're up there too. Anyway, though, I also play the tuba. I also sing profound bass, or some might call it octavist. But long story short, I can actually perform Mongolian throat singing, although I never actually have in front of anybody. But it's just kind of a weird fact. This is Patreon level material right here. All right. Yeah, no.
For the Patreon.
I will learn an entire song.
Yeah, you can't access that.
An entire Mongolian hymn and perform it for the $10 Patreons, along with me performing my solo in choir and band that both got me to state. The one in choir was actually in Latin, and I'm very, very proud of it. Anyway, that's the last thing. I am very, 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 very big into, like, I have no real way to, like, describe it other than, like, authoritarian, like, almost zealous, like, organizations in video games, strictly in video games, of course. Like, the Brotherhood of Steel, at least in Fallout 4, or the Enclave in any of the other games, like, literally any of the other games. The Adeptus Astartes, or the Space Marines from Warhammer 40,000. The Overseers from Dishonored. I love those guys. The new Canaanites from Fallout New Vegas, of course. And then, like, of course, anything but. And then,
Of course.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. All of those, like, crusadery boys. And, I say the best for last, the Executioners. Yes, the Golden Boys. Yeah, no, I identify with them on so many levels.
Yes,
Not
the Golden Boys.
entirely on the, Well, alright, I take that back. No, I do agree with them on every level, because there's nothing to disagree with, because they didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, I would disagree if they did something wrong, by all means, but until you can prove otherwise, or anybody can prove otherwise, Executioners did nothing wrong.
In that episode, I'll have to play devil's advocate because there's no other way to get to get that to work.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm pretty relaxed. I consider myself a pretty funny guy. I consider myself kind of a comedian. But that's enough about me. What about you, Emily?
Yes. Hello. My name is Emily. I am. Let's see. I live in Colorado right now, but I'm from the East Coast. I'll probably talk about that eventually. I'm a graphic designer at a food service design consulting firm, and I'm not a celebrity per se in the Soulsborne community, but I have been on. I have talked on 2 individual podcasts about Bloodborne and Dark Souls. I was on Don't Give Up Skeleton. And I have been on another small scale podcast with a friend of mine named Travis. I am a illustrator and a cosplayer. I also stream. Cosplay wise, most people in the community know me as one of the Mikolash cosplayers. One of those people. I adore Mikalash. He's the best. And I'm also an artist. I've done plenty of work for Sinclair Lore's server. I've done some freelance for other people in the Twitch community. That sort of stuff. But other than that, I'm a big fan of JRPGs from the 2000s. Particularly Dot Hack. It's my favorite series of all time. It's really, really terrible dungeon crawler that I don't recommend anyone play, but I love it. I love that. I love terrible dungeon crawlers, and the fact that I got into FromSoft games in the first place is absolutely incredible. Somehow or another, I managed to just want to be that way. And
just a quick footnote, she is incredibly good at art. And anybody considering anything that would require graphic design work or artwork should definitely let her know, because she can get it done. And she's really good.
aw.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not highly into promoting myself, but I will post a lot of work on my Twitter and my Instagram. And I think that's about it for me, unless you have anything you have to add about me.
Well, any interesting facts?
I'm really short. I'm like turbo short. I'm like 4'10". My hands are from the base of my palm to my middle finger is 5 inches long. And my feet, I wear a size 5 in women's. And my legs are really, really tiny. I have really, really, really short legs. I'm very, very short.
I'm pretty sure my dog Kaiser's actually larger than you. No, I know
Probably?
that he's likely heavier, because he's a big boy. Like, I mean, compared to me, he's like, when he's sitting down on his haunches, he's like, up to my waist. And like, that's saying something.
Wow, he's a big boy.
But yeah, no, I will talk about Kaiser a good bit, because like, if we ever happen to get into podcasts that deal with more personal stuff for whatever reason, yeah, I will definitely be talking about Kaiser. The place that I'm referring to, that I will not mention by name for copyright reasons, is where we were introduced. And basically, the way it went down was like, Emily was talking, I was talking about how much I thought Yahargul was a crazy place. And she was like, yeah, I like all that Mensa stuff. And then we just started going on about Yahargul and all that. And, well, here we are now making Bloodborne podcast a couple months later. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We became pretty
by the
fast
way,
friends, I'd say.
I say certain words that are not of an English dialect in the way that they're supposed to be said, to, like, in my own views, just like give credence to the cultures that created them. To be fair, it's also mostly just European stuff, because I'm like the Reiterpelish.
Oh, that kind of stuff. I thought you had just said
yeah.
something, and I was just like, you didn't say anything weird.
Yeah. Yahargul.
Because you said Yahargul,
Yeah.
which is correct.
And then, yeah, all that.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much, whatever Logan says, I usually just repeat, no lie, because I can't pronounce anything worth shit. So,
yeah, I mean,
most likely.
And then, like, with certain boss names, instead of saying Logarius, I actually say Logarius. because it's a Scottish name. The Loga, actually what my name derives from, Logan, is Scottish, and it's for like a tree stump that's been hollowed out. It makes no sense. I have no idea how it became a name, or who thought naming their child after a hollowed out tree stump was a good idea. But I remember being forced to do like a research paper on it in like 6th grade. I mean, I know that the only reason I'm named Logan is because he really liked the Wolverine comics.
Oh my god, you gotta be shitting me.
No, I'm being completely serious.
Oh my god.
Like, that was really the point I was at. It's like, oh, I'll just name it after this comic book character I like. Not any sort of, important figures or, not because of like a place that has significance. No, I'm going to name you after a fictitious character created by the one and only Stan Lee, which I'm thankful for because his comics are great. But I digress. It was the reason why that I've always been kind of upset about. I could have been named Wyatt if my mom had her way, and I would have hated that.
Yeah, that would have been terrible, just like how I would have been named Wanda if my dad had his way.
Wanda and Wyatt.
That would have been hilarious. I would have lost my shit over that.
But if in that alternate reality where my name's Wyatt and your name's Wanda, like, we would be like, my name could have been Logan if my dad did his way. And he's like, yeah, my name could have been Emily if my mom had her way. And we'd be thinking the same thing.
My dad had his way. My mom was like, don't you dare let him name that child. She was like, there's no way. I was actually named after a hurricane that killed 2 people in Florida.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Fun fact. I'd be afraid for anyone who wants to listen to that.
Oh, yeah, naturally. I mean, if we just recorded our like banter on a daily basis,
yeah, I feel like I'd have to pay them off.
Well, sure, it would be. I would, hope that they would accept some sort of financial reimbursement for that sort of trauma.
I think so. I do think so.
Yeah, but in the off chance that would happen, I feel like they would become very popular because we do have a nice little dynamic. Oh, speaking of other people on the podcast, there will also actually be another host that will be joining us in future videos. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it out this time, but I mean, her name is Amy. I don't want to go too far into introductions, but
we can introduce. We'll have her do her little introduction, but just a little short tidbit about Amy. She's her and I are pretty close. I mean, well, the 3 of us are actually pretty close, but her and I are both cosplayers. We both cosplay Mikalash. That's actually how we met. We're like, she like has some really great theories on Mensis and the choir, and let's see, she has a lot of she has really great theories about all kinds of stuff. She'll definitely be handling a lot more of the. I think that she'd be really. She has a lot of really interesting things to say about like the personalities of some of the characters.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is going to be super fantastic to have. I'm really, really excited for everyone to meet Amy.
Yes, because people are able to determine that Gascoigne is having an affair with Henrique from 2 item descriptions.
I can confirm. Just kidding.
Yeah, okay. So I will be honest, that is the kind of stuff that I tend to avoid. I feel like there's absolutely no harm in forming your own theories on characters themselves. Like, if you think one character is oriented a certain way, that's totally fine. But again, Souls lore is subjective, and we could go on forever debating points about, whether Mikolash is pan or not. But I mean,
Ooh.
well, all right.
Yeah, the episode, like Amy and I are gonna have to go on a tangent for that.
Well, all right. No, you're gonna have your own mini series just talking about the orientation.
We'll do special editions.
Yes, super special editions.
Super special editions of Amy and I talking about how garbage the Edgar and Mikolash ship is.
Well,
it's just absolute dumpster fire of a ship.
If any of them weren't. Oh, jeez, I just pissed off all of Tumblr. Oh, crap.
We're doing great. This is great. Wow, amazing. I can't wait.
Anyway.
I was going to say... Oh, sorry.
Oh, well, basically what I was going to go on about was... Personally, I'm going to take it as is with the text and stuff. If a character's orientation isn't directly mentioned, I won't, I wouldn't give it a second thought. But there's absolutely no harm in forming your own speculations and stuff. And honestly, that's what we're all here for. I'm personally in no place to judge anybody for how they view a certain character. So, I mean, it's in the same way as, like, I wouldn't expect people to go on about how, the executioners somehow in some incredibly minute and obscure way actually did do something, even remotely considered evil or wrong. Like, I wouldn't expect anybody to do that. I mean, right? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, the entire Soulsborne community.
Yeah. I wanted to get into some of the structure that we're going to be working with for this particular podcast. So there's going to be different types of topic episodes that I was planning on circling this around. So obviously we're going to have lore talk. We want to do something that's more looking at symbolism, real world tie-ins, nitty gritty, imagery stuff, and talking about that in detail. And we're also going to have episodes that are more similar to this introduction episode, which pretty much just be small talk centered around different weapons, builds, chalices, just getting us to talk. If that's, hopefully enjoyable to everybody. I think that's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
I'm certainly going to have a freaking blast. But that's...
oh, yeah.
That's the basic idea about those topics. There's different sections. And, of course, there's going to be topics for each one. So, we're going to do probably some lore talk of the Yarnum NPCs. We're going to do some lore talk for, the Thumerian Civil War.
Yes.
Let's talk about mentioned characters, so Gradia, Izzy, Archibald.
Yeah.
That kind of topic, those kinds of topics there. The old lords.
Yes. We're definitely going to go into the more obscure and more or less unmentioned and unexplained. Just all of that. A question that could very often be heard is why is the Watcher of the Old Lord, on fire? Oh, shit.
Watchdog, yeah.
I've logged 2,000 hours in this game, and the one time I say the full name, I screw it up.
Watchdog of the Old Lords.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Because there's the Merciless Watchers, and then there's the Watchdog of the Old Lords, and then there's the Keeper of the Old Lords. So the Merciless Keepers, the Watchmen of the Old Lords, and the Dog of the Old Lords. Yes. The dog.
The dog.
The dog.
The doggo.
But why is he on fire? Or why is Lawrence on fire in the Nightmare? Or, why do why is everything on fire?
Why is anything on fire, Logan?
Yeah. That's a great question.
Everything is on fire.
I could go into
incredible
detail on, but I won't.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway.
Anyway, so that's the structure that I was thinking for those episodes.
I was sorry, but I was also thinking, what if we started doing stuff on like experiences we've had playing Bloodborne, like just reminiscing about times in like the Chalice dungeons.
The general banter one I figured was going to cover that in many ways, because I wanted that to be specifically circled around like what we're doing and like specific things that we found in the chalices and just general like conversation about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think it'll be really great. That's I actually have it down here as called Chalice Banter on my notes. So yeah,
nice.
I mean the ultimate goal of this is to have fun talking about something that we both that all of us love, and in-depth lore discussions that that involve fun speculations and just getting people excited to talk to us, because we're always open for that as well.
We're trying to build a community of people that doesn't exclude anybody just because of an idea that they have, unless they're a Vileblood.
No Vilebloods allowed.
Yeah, no.
That's a great way to get banned from the Discord server that I am now repping. That will probably be posted in the description of the video and on Emily's Twitter and on certain Discords.
Certainly.
Yes. Feel free to join. We are always looking for, people who want to come together and be an inclusive and arguably wholesome community. I'd say aggressively wholesome is actually probably, if there were two words I could use to define myself, it would be aggressively wholesome.
Aggressively wholesome.
Yeah. But yeah. Now, always feel free to join the Discord. If you have any questions regarding any lore, feel free to reach out to me or Emily on Discord, or Amy, actually. I'm sure that she might have some answers for stuff regarding Yahar Ghul or certain NPCs or something.
Amy's just also an absolute delight to talk to.
Oh, yeah. No kidding.
She's not here, but she's here in spirit, and we love her both. We love her dearly.
Amy, if you're listening to this, I really hope nobody actually does, but we love you, and we can't wait for you to be on the podcast.
I know! Whoop, whoop. So, let's see. Let's get into a little bit of that Chalice talk, just since we have it going, and we should actually talk about real Bloodborne stuff and not just, like, plans.
Yeah. So, let's do...
Oh, I was going to suggest Chalice Bowl.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to start with that whole story.
Well, I mean, the full story can't really be disclosed on a podcast, but I mean...
Fair, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your idea?
Okay, what I was gonna say was... what is your favorite moment ever doing a Chalice dungeon, whether solo or co-op? And what is the scariest or most frustrating moment? It can be either or and.
It's going to be either or.
Either scariest or most frustrating.
Both. I have both.
And then spill the best one.
But the most? Okay, the best one. I'll have to think about the best one, because there's a bunch of different like random things that have happened.
And they could really be in Bloodborne, just the game in general. Because Chalice...
I mean, I think that we can limit it to chalices, but definitely in the game in general.
Yeah.
But most of the stuff that I can think of is like definitely chalices. The most frustrating thing for me that I've ever had to do in the chalices is definitely the defile chalice Abadala. That was a time and a half for like that
And then let's
hell of
not
a
forget
boss.
Headless Bloodletting Beast.
The Headless Bloodletting Beast does not. It wasn't frustrating. It just scared the shit out of me. It genuinely terrifies me. There's something about that boss that just like makes me like really scared. I don't know why you're laughing.
Oh, I
because
was
you know.
there. I was there, and
Yes.
it was a time. I wish I would have had it recorded.
It's a time. Oh my god, no! I'm so glad it's not recorded. I swear, it's so bad. There's been like a couple really dumb things that have happened in the chalices.
Like Queen Yarnum.
Oh my god, Queen Yarnum and her glitching out. That's so funny. Queen Yarnum glitched out of my game like real bad. Like I have screenshots of it on my Twitter and a video on my Twitter, and it's so bad. It's like we had to like we
Yeah.
both had to die just to like get out of that glitch boss fight. It was awful.
Yeah, because like it wouldn't let us attack her.
She like morphed into like the little like altar in the middle of her boss room. She just like kind of slid in there.
Just kind of slid in there. Just
She was just like kind of
became
there.
an amorphous blob while in there.
Yeah, it was kind of horrifying, and she could still hit you, so it was really annoying.
Like it was just like this big old amorphous blob that was appearing and reappearing and disappearing into this giant altar that could shoot blood at you, and cried and laughed. And
yeah, it was kind of terrifying.
Mm-mm.
No lie.
But best moment.
Best moment. Oh man, that's a really, really tough one. Oh man. It's definitely one of those videos I have on my Twitter. God, no, I can't remember them. All of them. I have a few. I think one of my favorite ones was that time that you one-shotted that guy with the call beyond.
Mine. Yeah, that was going to be
Really?
the one that I said.
That was so funny.
Became
I love that.
stage 4 insane just from that. Like just for a millisecond.
You like laughed so hard. It was so funny.
Yeah, that was about the hardest I'd ever laughed in my life.
I know, it was so funny. Oh my god, I was freaking out. There's another one. Let's see.
Anytime that we point in unison is something that I enjoy.
Oh yes, that's always.
Yes.
It's always delightful.
I mean, do you think it's a PvP experience, or do you really think that Call Beyond one would be your?
That I don't know. Like Call Beyond was such a weird instance. Like, I don't know how often you can just like, oh, that time that I freaked out because you landed on that statue. And I did that drawing.
Yeah, that was when the pointing at each other thing kind of started.
That was because we just started doing that. It was so funny. Oh, dude, that was so good. Let's see. What else do I have? I'm trying to think of the other ones. Other than the chalice mole, there's like just me pointing at you and you're getting eaten by a chalice.
Yeah.
That glitch where the brain sucker was in the floor. That glitch where there was the spider in the ceiling.
What about Henrique doing his best, which was also a glitch?
Henrique doing his It's so funny.
All right, I got it, guys. I got
that.
this. All right. Just step back. This old hunter's still got a few tricks up his sleeve.
You taking off your character just taking off like his shirt and just like fists of Gradia and eating a fucking like vile blood to death.
Oh, that's A1 content right there.
Quality
and throwing
content.
pebbles at him.
That was the throwing pebbles was pretty good. I swear, if you didn't run out, you would.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, no. I know we could go on for ages about stuff that but
I know. By the way, all of this stuff is on my almost all of these instances. Actually, if not all of the instances, are on my Twitter, which we can link to.
Oh, of course. I was just gonna go on to me.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. Most frustrating moment. What do you think it is?
I think I know what it is.
Do you?
It's
Do
that
you?
one particular boss.
Mm. That undead giant with the chains.
He's really annoying.
What a time.
What a time indeed.
Fighting lower Thumerian undead. Looking back at it now, it's child's play, even on a low level character. But when I first got there, it was so because he's only really weak to arcane, and this character had 0 points invested in arcane. So I was having to brute force my way through it. And it was painful. It took me so many attempts. I honestly think that, like, literally months of sitting down, like, all right, I'm going to get him today, and then not. And it's just because, like, how glitchy his, like, chains are. Because
They are.
they'll flail around because they have ragdoll physics, but they can get glitched out and pretty much fly anywhere in the map in certain times. Like they have unlimited range almost. So at least in my game when I was fighting it, which I think really played into the fact of how difficult it was and how much mental trauma it gave me. But yeah.
You're like traumatized by that boss. I mean, you fought it with me, which was like very kind of you since you're so traumatized, but
yeah. Well, of course. I always. But like
you fought it with Amy too.
I did. I didn't fight it with another person though, who I had run chalices with. I just sat there and let them die a couple times before
Oh my god,
helping them out.
really?
Yes, a certain person.
Oh.
Anyway, favorite moment? Oh. Well, okay, so scariest moment. That's a great question. I think the most, like the scariest moment for me was all of Upper Cathedral Ward.
Oh yeah, dude. I love Upper Cathedral Ward.
Like honestly, I thought Hypersian Jail was scary. Like when I first played it. But then I became absolutely enchanted with the music. Honestly, the soundtrack of Bloodborne has to be the best one out there. Rivaled only by Nier Automata.
Yeah, Nier's got a great soundtrack.
I cannot think of a single game that even comes close. And especially the songs written by
American composer Raina Man. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Like Ligarius' boss theme. No, it wasn't Gascoigne. But Hail the Nightmare, and then the song that plays in the dream, and Soothing Hymn, actually. So that Upper Cathedral Ward, he's really, really very good at setting the atmosphere for those kinds of areas. Truly, truly underappreciated for his work. But I'm just very, very big into music. I'm sure we'll have podcasts going over the music of the games, legitimate translations, not because stuff is subject to interpretation. But if you start going off on a tangent saying that, oh well, this is some made up, or this alpha, this song that was in the alpha was just like, using some really obscure, made up language written by an old dead racist. I mean, you're chip out of luck because that's not really how writing music works. You don't write music in Cyclopean, Lovecraftian, Cthulhu tongue, and then transcribe it into Latin. That's not how it works. And if with the composition process, like writing music, you don't like write the bass line and then present it to anybody. I mean, if Reinemann is anywhere near as talented as I know he is, he wouldn't create, anything that was half-baked, even if the final game was half-baked. The music is anything but.
Oh yeah, certainly. It certainly is. So yeah, you were saying Upper Cathedral Ward's like your most scary moment.
Well, like all of that with like the wolves jumping down onto the chandeliers and
oh man, that is great.
And then like the brain suckers. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of trouble with the celestial emissaries.
Your first try?
Yes. No, this last time that I played it.
No,
I had a lot of trouble with the celestial emissaries.
Yeah, I'd like to see you with your freaking with your maximal character with the whirligig saw that's just like totally decked out in bolt gems.
Bolty gig.
Your bolty gig.
It's a good weapon.
Yeah, I'd like to see you like struggle with any boss now, but I can totally understand. It's like a mob boss.
Maybe like, I don't know, maybe like Dark Beast Parl, especially with the bolty gig.
Yeah, I want to see you fight Dark Beast Parl with the bolty gig.
That would be so miserable.
It would be awful. It would be the absolute
like fighting Watchdog of the Old Lords with a boom hammer.
With the boom. Well, you did that.
I did do that. That's fair. I did.
You did that.
I did.
Why did you do that to yourself?
Because I wanted to for the meme.
You didn't do it for the meme. Don't lie to me.
I did it because it was my highest upgraded weapon, and
I know.
It was my first run through, and I didn't know how weapon upgrades worked. I was just kind of lost. I mean, I had nobody helping me through the Chalice dungeons. It was sort of just on my own.
Oh, I know.
I realized, I know, I'm just overplaying that. I'm not really upset by that at any means. But to be fair, I did fight the Watchdog my first run through in Central Thumerian with a boom hammer.
At least it wasn't a defiled one.
Oh gosh. It wasn't until long after that. Like I got the game in like mid to late 2017. All right, I got it really very late, but so did you.
Yeah.
And
I just, played through it, but then I found like the Chalice the dungeons, which I hadn't really messed with on my very, very first run through. Because I actually was stuck at Mikolash for a good while.
He's not easy.
Well, it's just because I had no arcane resistance.
Oh,
and I wasn't big into vitality, so it was funny. I played a glass cannon build to the letter.
Really?
Yeah. Now, big on high damage weapons, with a lot of scaling, a lot of debuffs on, enemies, or I guess buffs for the weapon, debuff on the enemy, whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't focus much on health. I was like, they can't kill me if I kill them first.
I was gonna say I kind of have that like mentality now in many ways.
Yeah, you do. Anyway, so yeah, I just kind of ran through the chalices, and I was like, I don't like these scripted chalices too much. I want to make my own stuff. I want to be a pioneer. Because one of the big things for me is like, I love procedural generation in video games. Like No Man's Sky, I was playing it since it came out and I never stopped playing it. As unpopular of an opinion as that is, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I still enjoy it, yeah.
You still enjoy it.
I play it often, actually. But it's the fact that you're able to like actually go out and discover new stuff. Even if it's similar to stuff that other people have found, you still found that exact instance of it. And you can do with it as you want. Like, you're accomplishing things. You're not playing a scripted role given by the game. Like, go fight this chain of bosses and then you'll win. Like, I don't like that kind of narrative in gaming. Like, I'm not too big into games like The Witcher, games like Dragon Age, games where you're able to make choices, but you're not inherently able to choose who you are. Like, in The Witcher, you're only able to be Geralt. That's it. And it doesn't matter who Geralt is to you. You could make him a psychopath. You could make him, very good-natured. It's still this one white-haired dude. I don't really appreciate that in games. I want to make my own character. I want to discover my own things. I want a sandbox, and I want to be able to be creative with it. That being said, I have no problem if the player character is a scripted person, if that scripted person doesn't talk so much. Like Doom. Oh, that manages the silent protag perfectly. Like Halo. Master Chief does talk a good bit, but he really just serves the purpose to put the person playing in the position of being a badass cyborg super soldier. That's really all the purpose he has. Just like Doom Guy's purpose is to, be a conduit for all of the rage that a gamer might feel. Like when he runs out of Doritos and Mountain Dew. Ah, great. Now we've already offended all the gamers too. We're really pulling out all the stops. And then like Agent 47 from the Hitman series, like the person you play as in the games. He rarely talks, but he's just serving as a conduit. Even Commander Shepard, who is incredibly vocal throughout all of the Mass Effect games, you're actually able to choose how Commander Shepard acts. And you're able to change how Commander Shepard looks, the gender of Commander Shepard, the relationships that Commander Shepard gets into. You're able, that was good for the first two games. Then the third game rolled around.
You still have another question to answer.
Scariest moment? Or
no, you did scariest. You're right. Your best moment.
Oh, gosh. Any moment that I'm playing the Chalice Dungeons with people that I care about. I'm just kidding. So my best moment is hands down actually not in the Chalice Dungeons, but it could still be very applicable. It was actually an invasion story like the one that you mentioned. It was just in Yahar Ghul with you.
Oh!
So if the people listening don't already know, as I'm sure you don't, because nobody knows who I am, I have a max level character that I use to help co-op with. Because one of my big things is I like helping people in the game because it means a lot to me, and I really, don't want people to give up on the game just because of a single boss. I keep hope that, beating that boss and exposing them to the next area will get them hooked, for better or worse. So I made a max level character so I could, more reliably fit into these different types of situations so I could help the most amount of people. But that means that I'm able to make my character look pretty scary and deal pretty scary damage.
Oh, it's this story. I almost forgot about this.
Oh, how could you?
It's because of all the cool Dark Souls 3 invasions have happened where you scared the shit out of people and they just died.
Okay, yeah, this is the first and closest to my heart. So we got invaded in Blood Moon Yahar'gul by some loser. I usually wield back when this happened, I wielded a Reiter Pelesh and a Burial Blade. And then for my offhand, I either had a cannon or a lock shield, because I had that pairing ability with the Reiter Pelesh.
But I, it also goes to say that my character name is literally Eccentric Logan. All of my characters are named Logan. Every single one, they just have an adjective before them to describe which one they are.
Yep.
Or like a noun. But it's, we were running through there, and we had gotten to the area where that one lamp is that you see the broken lamp for Persian jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got summoned in about there, and he, runs over to where we were, because I was just like, chill by this lamp, make him come to us. And he gets there, and he just stands by the doorway, because he's wanting us to go out and attract enemies. Or at least that's what I had assumed.
Yeah, he was trying to get us to kite enemies in towards us.
Yes. So I realized this, and I'm like, yeah, don't follow him. Gosh, I'm making myself sound so like, oh man, do this, do that. It's
he's really not. Like I know how to play the game.
It just comes to invasions.
I'm not very good with them.
You're just a valuable asset. I mean, if you die, then I die. So it's like I'm, protecting you as I would protect myself. Like as I would tell myself, don't be stupid, don't do this, don't do that. I'm being like, hey, don't be stupid, don't do this, don't do that. It sounds like I'm trying to tell you what to do, but in turn, it's for your best interest. And take that as you will. But you'll see later that worked out to our advantage, because he just ran over to us. I attacked him, and, almost...
You switched your weapons, too.
Yes. I had the lock shield out and the Reiter Pelesh.
I thought you broke your cannon out.
All right, hold up.
Sorry.
So I was, dueling with this guy, and he kept running out the doorway to try to, get us to attract the enemies. So we just, rinsed and repeated. He ran through, got his ass handed to him, then ran back out and healed. All the while, I don't think I healed that entire time.
No, I don't think so.
So like, he runs over to about where the broken lamp is, and I just like start transforming my weapon, and then pull out the cannon. All right, and it's at this point that reason and logic and all that is good and holy washes over this man, and he has a spiritual awakening because he realizes he needs to repent for his sins and go back to his own world through the silencing blank.
That's right. He does use the salad. That's right.
Yeah, he.
Oh, it's so funny.
That made me feel incredibly powerful, and I don't think I've stopped that trip since. I think I'm still tripping on that.
Oh my
Well,
god!
no,
Wow, that was
it didn't
pretty
help
fun.
the fact that it happened multiple times when we were playing Dark Souls 3.
Oh my god, I have video recordings of how many times I get freaking invaded in Dark Souls 3. It is absolutely ungodly the amount I get invaded.
Because she always uses an ember.
I have to summon.
Actually, you don't,
No, I do.
No, you don't.
What?
There's a miracle that lets you see summon signs.
What? Why did you tell me this?
Because you thought that you were too cool for Faith.
I've been putting points into Faith in my character for
no, it's not in. I don't think it's in Dark Souls 1.
Oh, that's right. I'm not doing that in that one. Yeah, you're right. Now I just have to make a strength faith build.
Oh, yes.
All you ever wanted and more.
Everything I ever could possibly want. Oh, we need to wear the Cathedral Knight set, both of us.
Ooh. I'm here for that.
They're good boys. They did nothing wrong.
But anyway, that time I have the video recording of how many times I got freaking invaded. There was that guy that was named Brazil. I remember that because you spent like 20 minutes on this guy, and I remember him because he just like ran around and you started trying to kill him with the giant shield.
That was the best. The two door shields.
The door shield.
What a pathetic little man. I love him.
You kept dropping.
I did.
Stuff
I
for
was
him
like,
too.
hey, here's an ember. Please piss off.
Leave.
Yeah.
Please leave.
He just took it and did the little joy emote, and then it just kept going. Like as if he didn't understand the nuances of dropping items for people in Dark Souls 3. Like if you're doing low level invasions and a low level character drops an ember, that should mean a lot. That's like that. Tale in the Bible about the old lady who didn't have anything, and she gave a single, bronze coin to the offering table, and she was revered because she had given all she had. While the rich man put in so much. It's kind of like that, the low levels, like the little old lady, doesn't have much left, just gives what they can to try and appease. You should accept that and reward that, whether it be by returning to your own world or actually giving them something back, especially if you're a really high level character. I know for a fact I've done that a ton of times. I don't often do low level invasions, but I do in fact do invasions for mound makers and stuff. So idiots who unwittingly summon me in. I never actually attack them as a mound maker. I always help out. And I always drop stuff for them. But if they drop stuff for me, I drop them so much. And I'm not even saying that to be the rich man in that prophecy, but or not prophecy, not tale, but this is it's foretelling, but not it's just that's kind of what I do. The only reason I get obscenely powerful in any game that's multiplayer and cooperative, multiplayer and co-op, is so I can help people who aren't at that level get to that level.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of what I do. I'm just really impulsive in that sense, compulsively helpful. be a great way to describe it. Nah, I really just am here to help.
No, I know.
Oh, I know. I know you know.
You should know that I know, indeed.
I do.
There's I was just thinking, like, that was getting invaded so often is just, it's just my life. On the topic of invasions is I don't
Invade? Yeah.
no, none of that. I don't think it's like necessarily a bad thing, but I certainly don't think it's a good thing for me. So I don't do it. I don't mind it so much. I don't mind getting invaded so much in Bloodborne. It doesn't stress me out as much because I'm actually good at Bloodborne.
She just doesn't know what weapon she likes in Dark Souls 3. And as for Dark Souls 1, you really there's nothing you can do to get better at Dark Souls 1 PvP other than making a new character and making that character a pyromancer.
Yeah, I know. That's like the only thing you can do. It's like so stupid.
Or Faith, actually.
Yeah, Faith is good for that too. Dark Souls 3, I don't know what I like yet. I haven't decided. There's too much. There's just too much. It's just too much content. I'm not very good at playing that game.
Dark Souls 3?
Yeah, I'm not very good at that.
You just need to find.
I'm probably the most frustrating person to play Dark Souls.
No.
Oh, come on.
No, you are not.
Yeah.
The person who made me make a photo rendition of Donald Trump in Dark Souls 3 to run through a, like, what even was it? It was a strength Donald Trump, and it was a faith Mike Pence so he could use lightning bolts. This man forced me to become Donald Trump strength build, and then I spent painstaking amounts of time, fine-tuning this character to look identical to Donald Trump, even down to a scowl. And I make him, and the guy cancels his PSN account. So. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah,
so you just got Donald Trump sitting there?
Yeah, I think he's naked too.
Oh. Oh.
I'll save that face data for a rainy day.
You should, because that's funny shit. Okay, so I guess I'm not the worst person to play Dark Souls 3 with.
And he sucked. He needed my help from my max level character to fight Vort.
Vort?
Yeah.
Vort's not a... I mean, he can be tough if you don't know how to play the game, but I think Unex Gundyr is harder than Vort.
Oh yeah, Unex is so much more difficult. I suffered immeasurably at the hands of Gundyr. And that's just because Dark Souls 3 was my first Souls game. Like, I'm very thankful for Gundyr. As a matter of fact, I think that he's probably one of the best bosses in the game. Simply because of the fact that he serves as a Udex, as a judger. Determining whether you're worthy of playing through the rest of the game, or if you want to look at it on a lore standpoint, worthy enough to link the fire. But like, I think the same thing with Gascoigne, who I'd also consider to be one of the best bosses in Bloodborne.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Because he's incredibly difficult for new players. And you have one of two options. You either give up, or you freaking power through it and get through it and get that rush of endorphins and dopamine and adrenaline that you get from beating a boss for the first time. Especially a difficult one.
Yeah, I had to beat my head against Gascoigne for a while. Yeah. No lie, like I mean, I actually took to farming. I was like really way over leveled by the time I actually like beat Gascoigne, which it still was quite difficult. It took me a long time. I mean, that's why I have close to the same amount of time that you have on your max level character as I do on my base, my first characters, because it took me so so long to get good at the game.
Can I be completely honest? And I'm not saying this to be facetious in any way. All right. But I did beat Gascoigne on my first trial, my first run through.
I know. I've
I'm
heard.
sorry.
What are you sorry about? It's not a
you're
problem.
right.
Like, it wasn't your first Souls game. Like, Bloodborne was my
that's
first Souls.
true.
Like, I didn't fight in Exkundir. Like, I fought that later.
I think, no. I was stuck at Aldrich when, I was stuck at Aldrich on my Dark Souls 3 game when I went to my friend's house who was like, hey, make a Donald Trump character in Dark Souls 3. That'd be a pretty sick meme. You know, he had a PS4 back when I hadn't yet made the investment. And I just sat down and started playing Bloodborne, and I made a new character. And Cleric Beast gave me a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, it took me like four or so tries.
That sounds about right for me, actually. But then for Gascoigne, I mean, to be fair, I was using the Hunter's Axe.
Yeah, it's a little easier that way. I started with the saw cleaver.
Yeah, I mean, those tend to be two basic weapons. Like, Threaded Cane should not be used by a new character, or a new player.
Oh my god, if you play 30 Cane as a new character, like if you're like brand new to the game and you do 30 Cane, I feel so sorry for you.
Also, if you have friends that are like, I'm not going to let you play the rest of this game if you can't beat this first enemy with your bare hands.
Oh no, that's stupid. That's dumb AF. I never fight that freaking werewolf. I run right past it, I go up to the lamp, I go to the Hunter's Dream, I go back, I kill it.
Nice. Well, like, the only thing is, though, is that I did.
That's fine that you did.
But no, I don't mean it like that. It's just he didn't. He thought it wasn't possible. He thought I would fail, and then he'd be like, hey, dude, you suck. But no, I actually beat it.
That's dumb.
And no, he's unworthy of being called a friend.
Fair.
Then again, 99% of the people that I talk to in real life are not considered like worthy of being considered friends.
Yeah, but we're friends.
Oh, of course. That's why.
Absolutely.
Well, no, that's why I explicitly said online.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
Like, aren't. Like 98% of the people that I talk to online, on a regular basis, I'm genuinely friends with. Really very honest online, which is nice.
Let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, anything else we want to talk about?
I mean, I really think that's it.